Welcome to the Blueprint video tutorial series. In this tutorial, we will take a look at the new features in version 2.5. First, we'll open up a patient's file and take a look at their audiology tab. Now that we're on the patient's audiology tab, let's create a new audiogram for this patient. We'll use the Create New button and see that there are now 3 tabs. So after selecting our test method and adding in our ICD code, we can add in our ear conduction, bone conduction, and other scores. So now that we have those bone conduction and ear conduction scores, we'll add in our severity, type, and shape. If you're using NOAA, the entry date, provider, and your scores below will transfer over. Speech scores will also transfer over from NOAA. If you're manually entering the audiogram, these can be entered in our Speech tab. There is also the Impedance tab. So once we're done adding in all of our information, we'll click Save. It will then confirm that our audiological history has been updated. We can also add a patient type by clicking the 3 dots. By clicking next to a type, we can place a patient in that group and later create a marketing campaign targeting all of our patients with speech pathology or hearing loss. Marketing campaigns can also be created based on the severity, type, and shape of a patient's hearing loss. So now we can either right-click or select Reports at the bottom to generate our physician report hearing assessment. On our right-hand panel, we can now see the text snippets. So if we go to our second page, we have our audiogram. We can also click in to add any scores. And on page 3, we'll add in our notes using our text snippet. So I'm going to double click in the summary box. To pull up a text snippet, I'm going to start typing. After typing in the shortcut, it'll prompt you to press Enter. Doing so will replace the text. To add another text snippet, merely press space and then start typing the next shortcut. To add new text snippets, we can go to our Setup menu. So we'll click Save and see that our notes now appear. We'll close out of our hearing assessment and then go to the Setup menu. We'll click on Text Snippets and choose the area that we'd like to add the snippet to. So here we can click Create New and add our new string. After typing in our text snippet string, we'll add in the auto text. By clicking the lock, we can make that text string private. Once we're done, we'll click Create. Another new feature within our setup menu is the ability to add PDF templates. I'm going to quickly pull up a template I've already created in Adobe. So now that we're in Adobe, we'll go ahead and edit our form. We'll go to Tools, and then Content Editing. Clicking Edit Text and Images will allow us to adjust any of our fields, such as that patient name, our insurance, ID line, or our title. We could also add new text using that option in the right-hand panel. So once we're done adjusting the non-editable part of our template, we'll close our content editing section and we'll go to Forms. Then we'll select Edit. And here we'll enter in a new field for our date of birth merge field. Under Add New Field, we'll select Text Field, and then we'll create our text box. Where it says Field Name, I'll then insert our merge field, and then click out of the box. So then we'll resize our text field. Now that we're done with all of our merge fields, we can close our form editing, save it, and upload our template into Blueprint. Here we can click Upload, choose our form, and then click Open. We're typing in that name, selecting our category, and since I used our patient form merge field document, we'll select patient form as the category as well, and then we'll click Save. With patient forms, we'll need to close out of Blueprint and reopen it, so I've already loaded this form into the system. We'll select a patient from our patient browser, then select Patient at the top, go to Forms, and select our super bill. So here we can see our merge fields. We can also click in to add the notes. So then we could go ahead and archive or download that. Then we'll close out of our super bill and go back to our patient browser and open up a new patient. On our patient summary screen, we can now click on their email address and it will open up our email. Another feature is that we can deliver all items at one time. So we'll go to the Patient's Hearing Aids tab and we will deliver these 3 items. So right-clicking on one of the items, we now have the Deliver All Items option. Then we'll go ahead and create the invoice. And here we can see our invoice. So we'll go ahead and close out of that and take a look at the new editable Word templates. So I'm going to pull up a template that I've already created. This is another version of our hearing loss assessment. I've taken the merge fields from blueprintsolutions.us. Here, we'll also add in some new merge fields. I'm going to make this line editable in Blueprint by adding FD. This will allow us to add a second phone number if the patient has one. I'm also going to add text snippets to the recommendations box. So to make that editable, I'm going to right-click, and I've already added our text box there, so we'll go ahead and format that. And then in our alternative text tab, I'm going to add in our shortcut of FDM. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. So now I'll make sure to save these changes. And we'll go back to Blueprint to load these into the system. We'll go into our Setup menu and into our Template section. After typing in our title, we'll add our category as an audiological form, and we could add a description too. Then we'll click Save. So now I'll go into our patient browser and open up a patient's file. We can then go into their audiology tab, either right-click on a date, or go to Reports and choose our assessment. So here's the preview of our assessment. At the top, we can click into the telephone number to add details. On the right-hand side, we can also see our advanced editing options. So I'm going to double-click on Recommendations, and here we can see the text snippets that we added within the Setup menu. So we'll go ahead and add our recommendations. I'm going to start by typing in our first shortcut. And then it'll prompt us to hit Enter. And then we'll hit Enter. After we're done, we can click Save, and that text will now appear in our recommendations box. Thank you for viewing this tutorial. If you have any questions, please give us a call or send in a support ticket.